Have you ever knelt down in the dark and asked God, why? Why this illness? Why this loss? Why this loneliness? Why, after everything you've given, after every prayer you've prayed, does it still hurt this much? You're not weak for asking that question. You're not faithless. In fact, the very fact that you're still talking to God through the pain, that is one of the most powerful forms of faith that exists. Tonight, I want to sit with you, not to give you a quick answer, not to rush past the hurt, but to walk slowly, gently through one of the deepest questions a human being can ever ask. Why does God allow pain? And by the time this video ends, I believe, truly believe, you will see your suffering differently. Not as punishment, not as abandonment, but as something far more profound. Stay with me, because what I'm about to share could change everything. Before we go any further, I want to take just a moment to speak to you personally. You found this video for a reason. Maybe you're lying in bed right now. Maybe the house is quiet and everyone else is asleep, but your mind won't stop. Maybe your heart is carrying something tonight that no one else fully sees. I make these videos for you, not for numbers, not for algorithms. I sit down, I pray, I research, I write, because I know there are people out there, good people, faithful people, who just need to hear the right words at the right time. If this channel has ever brought you comfort, if you've ever fallen asleep feeling a little more at peace because of something you heard here, I want to gently ask you, would you subscribe? Just tap that button. It costs you nothing. But it means that next time you need this, next time it's late and your heart is heavy, this channel will be right there waiting for you. We're building something here, a community of believers who hold each other up, and I'd love for you to be part of it. All right, now let's go deep. The question every believer asks. There is a question so old, it was written into the oldest book of the Bible. A man named Job, righteous, faithful, blameless, and yet he lost everything, his children, his wealth, his health. He sat in ashes and scraped his own wounds with broken pottery, and in the middle of that horror, he didn't run from God. He ran to God, and he demanded an answer. Why? And here's what I want you to understand tonight. God did not punish Job for asking. God did not turn away. In fact, at the end of the story, God says something remarkable. He says, Job spoke rightly. That means your questions are not blasphemy. Your tears are not weakness. Your why is not a lack of faith. It is the deepest expression of faith. Because you only demand answers from someone you believe is listening. Pain has been part of the human story since the beginning. But God has never once been absent from it. The question was never, does God care? The real question is, what is He doing inside the pain? And that is what we're going to discover tonight. Pain as a signal, not a punishment. Let me ask you something. If your body had no capacity for physical pain, would that be a blessing or a curse? Doctors will tell you it would be a death sentence. There are rare medical conditions where people cannot feel pain, and rather than living freely, they live in constant danger. They break bones and keep walking. They burn their skin and don't notice. They destroy their bodies because they receive no warning. Pain in the physical world is information. It is your body saying, something needs attention here. And God designed emotional and spiritual pain the same way. When your heart breaks over a lost relationship, that pain is telling you connection matters to you. When grief overwhelms you after a loss, that pain is saying that person was precious. When loneliness cuts deep in the night, that pain is pointing you toward something, toward community, toward God, toward yourself. Pain is not the enemy. Pain is a messenger. The ancient wisdom of Proverbs says, "Before his downfall a man's heart is proud, but humility comes before honor." Sometimes pain is the only thing that can humble a proud heart, not to break it, but to open it. God is not punishing you with pain. He is trying to get your attention. He is pointing to something that matters. Are you listening? The fire that refines. Have you ever watched a silversmith work? The process is almost violent. Raw silver is not beautiful. It is dull, gray, full of impurities. So the craftsman places it in fire. Extreme heat. And as it melts, the impurities, the dross, they rise to the surface. The silversmith skims them away, then heats it again, and again, and again. How does the silversmith know when it's done? When he can see his own reflection in the silver. The Bible uses this exact image to describe what God does with us. I have refined you, though not as silver. I have tested you in the furnace of affliction. Isaiah 48:1. God is the silversmith, and we are the silver. The things the fire burns away. Our pride, our fear, our need for control, our shallow dependencies. These are not the real you. They are the impurities sitting on top of who you were made to be. The pain of refinement is real. It is not imaginary. It is not small. But the silversmith never walks away. He watches closely. He monitors the temperature. He is present, completely present, in the process. And he stops the moment he sees his reflection in you. Your pain is not God walking away. It is God leaning in. What? Suffering builds in you. There are things you simply cannot learn in comfort. You cannot learn deep patience in a life without frustration. You cannot learn real compassion without having known real pain. You cannot develop genuine faith without walking through genuine darkness. The Apostle Paul, a man who was beaten, imprisoned, shipwrecked, and left for dead, wrote these extraordinary words. We also glory in our sufferings, because we know that suffering produces perseverance, perseverance character, and character hope. Romans 5:3-4. Notice the chain. Suffering, perseverance, perseverance, character, character, hope. Hope. Hope is not the starting point. Hope is the destination, and the road to it runs directly through suffering. Think about the people in your life you most admire, the ones with real wisdom, real peace, real strength. I'd be willing to guess. Almost all of them have been through something. They didn't become wise in a classroom. They became wise in the middle of a crisis. They didn't develop peace by avoiding hard seasons. They found peace inside them. Pain is building something in you, something that cannot be manufactured any other way, something that will become, in time, the most solid part of who you are. When pain redirects. Your path. Sometimes God uses pain not to refine you, but to redirect you. You've seen it happen in life. The job you didn't get, that led you somewhere better. The the relationship that ended, that protected you from something you couldn't see, the door that slammed shut, that forced you through a different one. Looking back, you can almost always see it. The thing you grieved most turned into the grace you needed most. C.S. Lewis wrote, "Pain insists upon being attended to. God whispers to us in our pleasures, speaks in our conscience, but shouts in our pains." He shouts. Because when life is comfortable, we're often not listening. We're not seeking. We're not asking the deeper questions. But in pain, we get very honest, very fast. We strip away the pretense. We stop caring about shallow things, and we start asking what actually matters. What is this life really for? What do I truly believe? Pain creates an opening that comfort never could, and God, who loves you too much to leave you headed in the wrong direction, sometimes uses the most painful detour to bring you to the exact place you needed to be. The loneliness of suffering and God's response. One of the cruelest dimensions of pain is the loneliness it brings. You can be in a room full of people who love you and still feel completely alone in your suffering, because no one fully gets it. No one carries it exactly the way you carry it. No one knows what it feels like at 3 a.m. when the thoughts come, and the fear rises, and the heart aches in ways that don't have words. And in that loneliness, the enemy whispers, "God doesn't see you. God doesn't care. You are forgotten." I want to speak directly to that lie. Psalm 34,018, "The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit." Not distant from the brokenhearted, close to them. The very condition that makes you feel most abandoned from God is the condition in which He draws nearest. Jesus Himself on the cross cried out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" He knows that feeling. He went into that darkness fully, not to escape it from the outside, but to enter it from the inside. Whatever you are carrying tonight, He has been there. He is there now, and you are not as alone as you feel. There is a kind of knowledge that books cannot give you. It can only come from living, from losing, from suffering. The Psalms are full of it. Raw, unfiltered cries from people who had been crushed by life. Yet these same Psalms became the words millions of people pray when they themselves are crushed. Why? Because David didn't write from comfort. He wrote from caves, from war, from betrayal. He wrote from places of genuine desperation. And so his words carry weight that polished, comfortable words never could. Your pain is not wasted. God is building in you a capacity for empathy, a depth of understanding, a quality of presence that can only come from having suffered. One day, perhaps already, someone will come to you in their worst moment, and because of what you have been through, you will know exactly what to say, or when to say nothing at all, and sit with them in their darkness the way God sat with you in yours. Your suffering is being woven into something, a testimony, a ministry, a gift, not yet wrapped, not yet seen, but real. Chapter 8. When healing doesn't come. I need to speak honestly now, because some of you are watching this, and you have prayed for healing. You have believed. You have stood on promises. You have done everything right, and the healing hasn't come. This is perhaps the hardest part of faith. And I won't insult you with easy answers. The Apostle Paul had what he called a thorn in the flesh. He prayed 3 times for it to be removed, and God said, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness." Corinthians 12,009, not, "I'll take it away," but, "My grace will sustain you through it." This is a mystery, a real, difficult, holy mystery. But here is what I know to be true. God's definition of healing is not always the same as ours. Sometimes He heals the body. Sometimes He heals the soul instead. Sometimes He heals the relationship with the illness, brings peace where there was terror, acceptance where there was rage. And sometimes the deepest healing happens on the other side of this life entirely, where there will be no more pain, no more tears, no more asking why. That promise is real, and it is coming. Imagine a child in surgery. The child is terrified. The child cannot understand why the people who love him most are allowing this knife to touch him. From his perspective, this is cruelty. This is abandonment. This is pain without reason. But the surgeon sees what the child cannot. The surgeon sees what is inside. The surgeon knows that this moment of pain is the path to life. Isaiah 5,008:9. For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, declares the Lord. As the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. We see the moment. God sees eternity. We see the pain. God sees the purpose. We see the loss. God sees the gain that is coming. This is not a dismissal of your suffering. It is an invitation to trust, not blind trust, not denial, but the trust of a child who, even in the surgery, reaches out for the hand of someone they love and holds on. Hold on. Let me give you something practical now. Because theology is important, but you also need to survive this. First, let yourself grieve. Jesus wept at the tomb of Lazarus. Even though he was about to raise him, he wept anyway, because grief is not the opposite of faith. It is the mark of love. Second, stay in community. Pain wants to isolate you. It whispers, no one understands. Don't burden anyone. Stay quiet. Resist that, Ecclesiastes says. A cord of 3 strands is not quickly broken. You need people around you, even one person. Third, stay in the Word, not because it will immediately fix the pain, but because it plants seeds in the dark. Seeds you won't even feel germinating until one morning you wake up and something is different. Fourth, speak to God honestly, not perfect prayers, not polished prayers, honest prayers. God, I am struggling. I don't understand. I need you. That is enough. That is more than enough. Fifth, look for the small mercies. In the middle of the worst seasons, there are still small gifts. A kind word, a beautiful sky, a moment of rest. These are not accidents. They are God saying, I am still here. Throughout history, the men and women we most remember are not the ones who lived easy lives. Corrie, 10, Boom, imprisoned in a Nazi concentration camp, came out with a message of forgiveness that shook the world. Joni Eareckson, Tada, paralyzed from the neck down at 17, became one of the most powerful voices for faith of the 20th century. The Apostle Paul, beaten, imprisoned, abandoned, wrote half the New Testament from a jail cell. Nelson Mandela, 27 years in prison, emerged with more dignity and wisdom than those who imprisoned him. These people did not avoid their pain. They walked through it. They brought God into it. And on the other side, they became more than they could ever have been without it. You are not at the end of your story. You are in the middle of it. And the middle of the story is always the darkest part. But it is never the last part. Let's pray together. God, I come to you right now on behalf of every person watching this. I don't know you know every sleepless night, every quiet cry that no one else heard, every prayer that felt like it bounced off the ceiling. You know. And your word promises. You are close to the brokenhearted, so be close tonight. Not distant, not silent, close. Help them trust you in the part they cannot understand. Help them hold on through the season they cannot see past, and remind them this pain has a purpose. Their story is not over, and you are not finished with them yet. In Jesus' name, amen. Chapter 11. Stories of those who came throughout history. The men and women we most remember are not the ones who lived easy lives, are not the ones who had it all figured out, are not the ones who never cried, never doubted, never fell to their knees in the dark. No, the ones we remember are the ones who went through the fire and came out the other side, still standing, still believing, still whole. Let me tell you about Corrie ten Boom. She was a Dutch woman, a watchmaker's daughter, a simple, faithful, ordinary woman of God. During World War II, she and her family hid Jewish people in their home, at great risk to themselves, because they believed every human life was precious. They were eventually discovered, arrested, thrown into the most horrific concentration camps in Nazi Germany. Her sister Betsy died in that camp. Corrie watched her die, in the cold, in the filth, in the cruelty, and yet Corrie ten Boom came out of that camp with a message that traveled around the entire world. There is no pit so deep that God's love is not deeper still. She didn't just say it, she had lived it. She had been in the deepest pit imaginable, and she had found God there, not waiting at the edge of the pit, inside it, with her. She spent the rest of her long life. She lived to be 91 years old, traveling the world, telling people, no matter what you have suffered, no matter where you have been, there is forgiveness, there is healing, there is hope. Her pain became her platform. Her prison became her pulpit. Her suffering became the very source of her strength. Then there is Joni Eareckson Tada, 17 years old, athletic, beautiful, full of life. One summer afternoon, she dove into the Chesapeake Bay and hit the bottom in the wrong way. In an instant, her life changed forever. Paralyzed from the shoulders down, she would never walk again, never use her hands again. She spent 2 years in rehabilitation, crying, raging, begging God to let her die. She prayed for healing with everything she had, and the healing she prayed for did not come. But something else did. In that wheelchair, with a paintbrush held between her teeth, Joni began to paint. And her paintings touched millions. Her story, her books, her voice reached corners of the earth she never could have reached on her own 2 feet. She founded a global ministry for people with disabilities. She has spent decades fighting for the dignity of those the world overlooks. And she says this: I would rather be in this wheelchair knowing God than walk without Him. That is not something you say from comfort. That is something you say from the other side of the fire, from the place where you discover that God's grace truly is sufficient, that His strength truly is made perfect in weakness. Joni's life is proof that God does not waste pain, not one drop of it. Think about Joseph in the Bible, a young man with a dream, thrown into a pit by his own brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, forgotten in prison for years, year after year after year. No rescue, no explanation, no relief. Can you imagine how many times Joseph must have asked, "Oh God, where are you? Did you forget me? Was that dream a lie?" And yet, Every single painful chapter of Joseph's life was preparation. Every betrayal built character. Every prison year built patience. Every moment of abandonment deepened his dependence on God, until the day came. And it came suddenly, as God's moments often do, when Joseph stood before Pharaoh and interpreted a dream that saved an entire civilization from famine. At the end of his story, when he stood face to face with the brothers who had betrayed him, he didn't say, "Look what you did to me." He said, "You intended to harm me, but God intended it for good." Genesis 50,020. You intended it for harm. God intended it for good. Hold on to that. Whatever has been done to you, whatever has happened to you, whatever you have lost, God is not finished writing the story. And in his hands, even the worst chapters become the ones that matter most. There is one more story I want to share, not from history, not from the Bible, but from real life. From ordinary people. People like you. Somewhere tonight, there is a mother who buried a child she loved more than her own life. And in her grief, somewhere tonight, in the quietness of this very moment, your heart is beginning to realize something gentle, something peaceful. You do not have to stay strong every second of your life. Not tonight. Tonight, you are allowed to rest. You are allowed to stop carrying the emotional weight of everything all at once. So for a moment now, just listen to the quietness around you. The stillness of the night, the softness of your breathing, the calmness slowly settling over your body. Everything is becoming slower now, softer, quieter, and little by little, your tired mind is finally beginning to let go. So without rushing, take one slow breath in, and gently let it go. Very good. Now simply rest here quietly. No pressure, no striving, no need to force yourself to relax. Peace comes gently, slowly, like soft snowfall covering the ground in the middle of the night. And tonight, God's presence is settling over your heart in that same quiet way. Softly, patiently, lovingly. Maybe lately you have been carrying thoughts you never speak out loud. Thoughts about the future. Thoughts about getting older. Thoughts about people you miss deeply. And sometimes, during the day, those thoughts stay hidden beneath the noise and distractions of life. But at night, when everything grows still, the heart begins to feel everything more deeply. The loneliness, the memories, the unanswered questions, the quiet ache of carrying so much for so long. But tonight, God does not want your heart to carry all of this alone anymore. So imagine yourself now sitting quietly inside a small countryside church late at night. The room is warm and peaceful. Soft golden light glows gently from old lamps beside wooden walls. Everything is silent except the faint sound of rain outside. And there, in the stillness of that quiet place, you feel something your heart has needed for a very long time. Rest, not temporary escape, not distraction, real rest. The kind of rest that reaches deep inside the soul and whispers, "You are safe now." And as you sit quietly there tonight, God's presence surrounds you gently. Not with pressure, not with judgment, but with peace, with understanding, with compassion for every hidden burden you have carried. He sees how tired your heart has become. He sees the emotional exhaustion you rarely talk about. The nights when sleep felt difficult, the moments when fear quietly entered your thoughts, the silent worries about tomorrow, and even knowing all of this, he remains near, steady, faithful, loving. So there is no need to hide your emotions tonight. No need to pretend everything feels okay. You can simply rest here in God's presence exactly as you are, tired, quiet, still healing, still hoping, and still deeply loved. So very gently now, allow your breathing to slow once more. Not forced, just natural, soft, peaceful. Feel your shoulders loosening. Feel your jaw relaxing. Feel your heartbeat becoming calmer in the stillness of this night. Very good. And while the rain continues softly outside that peaceful church, imagine yourself placing every burden down beside you. Not forever. Just for tonight. The worry about the future, set it down gently. The sadness you still carry from the past, set it down gently. The pressure you place on yourself, set it down gently. You have carried enough for one day. Tonight, your soul needs rest more than answers. And God understands that completely. Because He never asked you to carry life alone. Even now, while your eyes grow heavier, while your thoughts become slower, while sleep quietly begins drawing near, God is still holding you carefully. Nothing about your future surprises Him. Nothing about your life confuses Him. And nothing about your pain pushes Him away. Instead, His love remains constant through every season, through every fear, through every sleepless night, through every moment you felt emotionally tired. And tonight, that love is surrounding you quietly now, like warm light in the darkness, like gentle rain against a quiet window. For now, just rest. Just breathe softly. Just allow yourself to feel safe again. And quietly remind yourself, I do not have to carry everything tonight. God is here with me. I am safe in His presence. Again, God understands my tired heart. I am not alone. Peace is finding me tonight. Very softly now, let those words settle deep inside your soul. Let the quietness of this moment carry your thoughts further away from stress and worry. And as the peaceful stillness of this night surrounds you completely, feel your body relaxing more deeply. Feel your heart becoming lighter. Feel your mind finally growing quiet. Until at last, without fear, without pressure, without heaviness, you gently drift into peaceful and healing rest. As the night continues to grow softer around you, allow yourself to drift even deeper into this peaceful place of rest. The world has become quiet now. The rushing thoughts, the endless responsibilities, the worries that followed you throughout the day, they no longer need your attention tonight. For this moment, you are safe in the presence of God. So breathe in slowly, and gently breathe out. Again, slowly in, and softly out. Let every breath relax your body a little more. Feel the muscles in your face softening. Feel your shoulders becoming lighter. Feel the tension in your chest slowly melting away. You do not need to carry the stress of this day anymore. God is already holding what you cannot carry. And tonight, He is inviting you to rest completely in His care. Maybe there are still questions in your heart tonight. Questions about the future. Questions about people you love. Questions about situations you cannot control. And sometimes, those unanswered questions can feel heavy in the silence of the night. But even now, God is not troubled by the things that trouble you. Nothing about your life is beyond His understanding. Nothing is beyond His ability to guide. Nothing is beyond His love. Even when the future feels uncertain, His presence remains steady. Even when your heart feels tired, His strength remains constant. Even when you feel weak, His arms are still holding you securely tonight. So let your breathing become slower now. Slower and calmer. There is no need to rush toward tomorrow. Tomorrow will come in its own time. But tonight, your soul needs rest. Your mind needs peace. Your heart needs stillness. And God desires to give you all three. So imagine yourself now, resting beside still waters beneath a quiet night sky. The air is calm. The stars above are peaceful. and everything around you feels safe and still. In this peaceful place, there is no fear, no pressure, no striving, only the comforting presence of God gently surrounding you. And as you rest there in your mind tonight, begin placing every burden down one by one. The worries about your family, place them down. The fears about your health, place them down. The sadness that sometimes quietly returns, place it down. The emotional exhaustion you have carried for so long, place it down now. You were never meant to carry every burden alone, and tonight you no longer have to. God's hands are strong enough to hold what has been weighing down your spirit. So continue breathing softly now, slowly in and softly out. Feel your thoughts becoming quieter with every breath. Feel your heartbeat slowing peacefully. Feel sleep slowly beginning to wrap around you like a warm blanket of comfort. You are safe tonight. And while you sleep, God continues watching over you. Even now, He is protecting this room, protecting your heart, protecting your mind, protecting the people you love. You do not need to stay awake trying to control everything, because the God who has carried you through every difficult season before this one will remain faithful tonight too. Think of all the moments in your life when you thought you would never make it through, the painful seasons, the fearful nights, the unexpected struggles, and yet somehow God stayed beside you through every single one. Even when you felt alone, He was there. Even when you felt weak, He carried you. Even when you could not see a way forward, He quietly made one for you. And tonight, that same faithful God is still near, still loving you, still guiding you, still protecting you with gentle care. So allow your body to relax even more deeply now. Feel your eyelids growing heavier. Feel your breathing becoming slower and softer. Feel your mind drifting away from stress and worry. Nothing needs to be solved tonight. Nothing needs to be figured out before morning. This moment is simply for resting in God's peace. And if anxious thoughts try to return, do not hold on to them. Let them drift away gently like clouds passing through the night sky. You do not belong to fear tonight. You belong to peace. You belong to the loving care of God. So quietly remind yourself now, I am safe tonight. God is with me tonight. I do not have to carry every burden alone. Again, I am safe tonight. God is near me tonight. I can finally rest. Let those words settle softly into your spirit. Allow them to calm every anxious corner of your heart. And as this peaceful night grows deeper around you, remember something beautiful. While you sleep, God continues working in ways you cannot see. So take one more long, slow breath. Feel peace filling your body. Feel comfort settling over your mind. Feel the quiet presence of God surrounding you now. You are not forgotten. You are not alone. You are deeply loved tonight. And in the safety of God's presence, you can finally drift into peaceful, healing sleep. The night is quiet now, so quiet that even your thoughts are beginning to slow down. And as you continue resting here tonight, allow yourself to feel the gentle peace of God surrounding you more deeply than before. There is no pressure in this moment, no need to rush, no need to solve every problem before morning arrives. Tonight, you are simply resting safely in the loving presence of God. So breathe in slowly, and softly breathe out. Again, slowly in, and gently out. Feel the calm moving through your body with every breath. Feel your muscles relaxing. Feel the weight of the day slowly slipping away from your shoulders. You have carried enough for one day. And tonight, God is asking you to rest. Maybe your heart has been tired for a long time. Maybe there are worries you have carried silently for months or even years. Concerns about your health. Concerns about the future. Concerns about people you love deeply. And sometimes those thoughts become heavier at night when everything else grows quiet. But even now, God sees every fear resting inside your heart tonight. Nothing about your pain is hidden from Him. Nothing about your struggles is invisible to Him. He understands every emotion you are carrying. And still, His love for you remains constant, gentle, faithful, unshaken by the storms of life. So tonight, you do not need to keep carrying every burden by yourself. You can release them now, one by one, slowly, peacefully. Imagine yourself sitting beside a peaceful lake beneath the soft glow of the moon. The water is calm and still. The night air is cool and comforting. Everything around you feels safe. And in this quiet place, God sits beside you. Not far away, not distant, but near. Close enough to hear every silent prayer your heart has whispered. Close enough to comfort every hidden sorrow. Close enough to calm every anxious thought. So as you rest there quietly tonight, begin placing every burden into His hands. The worries about tomorrow, place them there. The fears that keep returning, place them there. The emotional exhaustion deep inside your heart, place it there. The painful memories you still carry, place them gently into God's care tonight. You no longer need to hold on to them, because His hands are stronger than your fears. His peace is deeper than your anxiety, and His love is greater than every burden weighing down your soul. So continue breathing softly now, slowly in and peacefully out. Allow your heartbeat to slow gently. Allow your thoughts to grow quieter. Allow your entire body to settle more deeply into rest. And if fear tries to return tonight, quietly remind yourself, God is here with me. I am not alone. I am safe in His care. Again, God is near me tonight. I do not have to fear tomorrow. I can rest peacefully now. Let those words move slowly through your heart like gentle waves of comfort. You are safe here. Safe enough to stop overthinking. Safe enough to stop carrying emotional pressure. Safe enough to let your tired mind finally rest. Because while you sleep tonight, God continues watching over every detail of your life. The future you worry about, He is already there. The situations you cannot control, He is already working through them. The people you love, He is holding them safely too. You do not need to stay awake trying to carry what only God was meant to hold. Tonight, you can surrender those burdens peacefully into His hands. And as the night grows deeper around you, remember how many times God has already carried you through difficult seasons before. Times when you thought you would never recover emotionally. Times when fear felt overwhelming. Times when loneliness felt heavy. And yet, He stayed faithful through all of it. Even when you felt weak, He gave you strength. Even when you felt lost, He guided you gently forward. Even when your heart felt broken, He stayed close beside you. And tonight, that same loving God remains near, still faithful, still patient, still protecting you with endless compassion. So allow your breathing to become slower now, slower and softer. Feel your eyelids becoming heavier. Feel your thoughts drifting further away from stress and worry. Feel sleep slowly wrapping around your body like a peaceful blanket of comfort. Nothing needs to be solved tonight. Nothing needs to be figured out before morning. This moment is only for peace, only for rest, only for trusting God completely. So take one more deep, calming breath in and gently let it go. Feel the quiet presence of God filling this room tonight. Feel His peace surrounding your heart. Feel His comfort calming every anxious part of your spirit. You are loved tonight. You are protected tonight. You are not forgotten tonight. And safely in the presence of God, you can now drift into deep, peaceful, healing sleep. Somewhere tonight, in the quietness of this very moment, your heart is beginning to realize something gentle, something peaceful. You do not have to stay strong every second of your life. Not tonight. Tonight, you are allowed to rest. You are allowed to stop carrying the emotional weight of everything all at once. So for a moment now, just listen to the quietness around you. The stillness of the night, the softness of your breathing, the calmness slowly settling over your body. Everything is becoming slower now, softer, quieter, and little by little, your tired mind is finally beginning to let go. So without rushing, take one slow breath in, and gently let it go. Very good. Now simply rest here quietly. No pressure, no striving, no need to force yourself to relax. Peace comes gently, slowly, like soft snowfall covering the ground in the middle of the night. And tonight, God's presence is settling over your heart in that same quiet way. Softly, patiently, lovingly. Maybe lately you have been carrying thoughts you never speak out loud. Thoughts about the future. Thoughts about getting older. Thoughts about people you miss deeply. And sometimes, during the day, those thoughts stay hidden beneath the noise and distractions of life. But at night, when everything grows still, the heart begins to feel everything more deeply. The loneliness, the memories, the unanswered questions, the quiet ache of carrying so much for so long. But tonight, God does not want your heart to carry all of this alone anymore. So imagine yourself now sitting quietly inside a small countryside church late at night. The room is warm and peaceful. Soft golden light glows gently from old lamps beside wooden walls. Everything is silent except the faint sound of rain outside. And there, in the stillness of that quiet place, you feel something your heart has needed for a very long time. Rest, not temporary escape, not distraction, real rest. The kind of rest that reaches deep inside the soul and whispers, "You are safe now." And as you sit quietly there tonight, God's presence surrounds you gently. Not with pressure, not with judgment, but with peace, with understanding, with compassion for every hidden burden you have carried. He sees how tired your heart has become. He sees the emotional exhaustion you rarely talk about. The nights when sleep felt difficult, the moments when fear quietly entered your thoughts, the silent worries about tomorrow, and even knowing all of this, He remains near, steady, faithful, loving. So there is no need to hide your emotions tonight. No need to pretend everything feels okay. You can simply rest here in God's presence exactly as you are, tired, quiet, still healing, still hoping, and still deeply loved. So very gently now, allow your breathing to slow once more. Not forced, just natural, soft, peaceful. Feel your shoulders loosening. Feel your jaw relaxing. Feel your heartbeat becoming calmer in the stillness of this night. Very good. And while the rain continues softly outside that peaceful church, imagine yourself placing every burden down beside you, not forever. Just for tonight. The worry about the future, set it down gently. The sadness you still carry from the past, set it down gently. The pressure you place on yourself, set it down gently. You have carried enough for one day. Tonight, your soul needs rest more than answers. And God understands that completely. Because He never asked you to carry life alone. Even now, while your eyes grow heavier, while your thoughts become slower, while sleep quietly begins drawing near, God is still holding you carefully. Nothing about your future surprises Him. Nothing about your life confuses Him. And nothing about your pain pushes Him away. Instead, His love remains constant through every season, through every fear, through every sleepless night, through every moment you felt emotionally tired. And tonight, that love is surrounding you quietly now, like warm light in the darkness, like gentle rain against a quiet window. For now, just rest. Just breathe softly, Just allow yourself to feel safe again. And quietly remind yourself, I do not have to carry everything tonight. God is here with me. I am safe in His presence. Again, God understands my tired heart. I am not alone. Peace is finding me tonight. Very softly now, let those words settle deep inside your soul. Let the quietness of this moment carry your thoughts further away from stress and worry. And as the peaceful stillness of this night surrounds you completely, feel your body relaxing more deeply. Feel your heart becoming lighter. Feel your mind finally growing quiet. Until at last, without fear, without pressure, without heaviness, you gently drift into peaceful and healing rest. Unbearable, suffocating grief. She started a small support group in her living room for other mothers who had lost children. And that small living room group grew into a ministry that has helped thousands of broken parents through the worst moment of their lives. Her pain became a sanctuary for others. Somewhere tonight, there is a man who lost everything in a financial collapse. His business, his home, his pride. He sat in an empty room and opened a Bible for the first time in 20 years. And what he found there rebuilt him from the inside out. He now counsels other men walking through failure with the compassion he never would have had if he hadn't fallen himself. His rock bottom became the foundation of someone else's rising. Somewhere tonight, there is a woman who survived an illness that the doctors said would take her. She went through treatment that broke her body. But in the hospital bed, in the long quiet nights, she found a God she had known about her whole life, but had never truly met before. And she came out of that hospital not just physically alive, but spiritually more alive than she had ever been. Her suffering became her awakening. These are not fairy tales. These are not exaggerations. This is what God does with pain when we bring it to Him instead of running from Him. He takes the broken pieces, every shattered piece, and He makes something from them that could never have existed any other way. You are not at the end of your story. I need you to hear that. No matter how final this season feels, no matter how long it has lasted, no matter how deep the wound goes, you are in the middle, and the middle is always the darkest part. But it is never the last part. Your chapter 11 is not your final chapter. There is more being written right now, in the invisible spaces, in the silent nights, in the prayers you barely have the strength to pray. God is writing, and He is a God who finishes what He starts. He who began a good work in you will carry it on to completion. Philippians 6. He started something in you, and He will not stop until it is complete. Hold on, hold on, hold on, hold on. Let's pray together. Father, I come to you right now on behalf of every single person watching this. I don't know their name. C, I don't know what they're carrying tonight. C, I don't know how long they've been carrying it. S-E, I don't know how heavy it has become. C, but you do. You know every sleepless night. C, every question that had no answer. C, every prayer that felt like it went nowhere. K, every moment they smiled on the outside while breaking on the inside. K, every time they held it together for everyone else. K, and fell apart alone. K, you know. Ank, you saw. You were there. Ank, and your word does not lie when it says, Ki, you are close to the brokenhearted. Ki, you save those who are crushed in spirit. Ispranation, so be close tonight, Lord. Inspiration, not distant. Inspiration, not silent. Inspiration. Let them feel your presence in this room. Inspiration. In this bed. Inspiration. In this quiet. Inspiration. Let them know they are not alone. Inspiration. Help them trust you in the part they cannot understand. Help them hold on through the season they cannot see past. Give them the grace to say, even now, God, I trust you. Even when it doesn't make sense. Even when it still hurts. Even when the answer hasn't come yet. Even when the answer hasn't come yet. And remind them tonight, this pain has a purpose. Their story is not over. The best chapters are still ahead, and you, the God who sees the end from the beginning. Shh! You are not finished with them yet. You are not finished with them yet. In the mighty and loving name of Jesus. Shh! Amen. Shh. 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 Amen. Shh. If you made it to this prayer, I want you to know something. You didn't find this video by accident. Someone who needed to hear exactly this was meant to be here tonight. And I believe that someone is you. If this brought you peace, if something shifted tonight, please share this video with someone who is hurting. You never know whose night it might change. And if you haven't subscribed yet, this channel exists for you. For the nights like this one. For the questions that have no easy answers. For the faith that's still standing, even when it's barely standing. Hit subscribe, hit the bell, so the next time you need this, it finds you. God bless you. Sleep well. You are loved.